What's up, guys? It's Mr. Janvet, and today we're on Discord. And as you can see, there's this new feature called Academy Live, where we can have a discussion in real time. And I think this is a super cool feature. I actually used to have two channels called Live and something else to mirror this exact thing. And so, great timing with Discord, sort of adding that. And so, what time better than now to start? So let me know if it's confusing to know how to request to speak, because I put on allow requests from everyone. And so whatever the feature looks like on your end, because it's going to look slightly different for me, just click request to speak, or suggest a topic that y'all want an explanation on, and I'll go. Maybe there can be a text channel. Yeah, I thought it would be built into the actual whatever, but I guess not. So no requests. Is everybody shy? This is not how I expected this to be. Like, nobody wants to come on stage. Okay. See, Bob, invite to speak. All right, let me see how this works. Okay, so Bob. Okay. I think I just sent you something, Bob, so see if you have to accept it. Because again, we're all learning here. And apparently you can have music.
Oh, there we go. Much better.
Hey, welcome to the stage.
Thanks.
So,
Yeah.
what you got for me?
You didn't happen to see the question I put in the other Discord, did you?
In my private channel?
Society thing, whatever it's called.
Okay. No, I didn't see it. Hold on.
Yeah, it's a pretty nasty tactical question, because the person I'm fighting this week is basically thinks about the game the way I do, just watching the way he plays, but is just better at it.
Okay. So I'm seeing the one where you're talking to Guardian Eagle about it, right? I'm looking.
Yeah, that's the one.
I'm looking for the original question.
Look for the simplified version, because I kind of overblown it.
Okay, just let me know. What's the question?
Where did I put? I'm gonna overblow it again if I. It's basically just that, like, how do you go about preparing for a game where you're basically fighting yourself but better, in a team tour sort of deal? Because if it wasn't a team tour, I would definitely just put up what I like using.
And so when you say better, when you say fighting yourself, I guess, what do you mean by his play style? Is that what you're?
Yeah, his play style and the way he builds responsibly.
Okay. And this is what tier?
This is Art Gold, Soul Silver, Ubers.
Oh, it's super niche.
Yeah.
You don't. You just lose. You just lose.
Pretty
Nah,
much.
No, I think ultimately, particularly with tours and tours that you're, where you know who the opponent is and you have time to prep, because there are times where, it's more of a on the spot thing, like a smog tour, right? You get, well, other than playoffs, but you just kind of play the person as you go, and you don't really know who's gonna make it to the next round, who you're gonna be paired with, all that stuff. But in a case like this where you can truly research a player, and I was talking to actually Guardian Eagle about this the other day as he prepares. Something you want to consider is, what are the stakes? Because you want to understand who the person is, and that'll determine what they'll generally bring.
Oh, I've played this guy many times. Play him a lot. I just have like a 4% win rate against him.
Okay, that's fine. That doesn't mean you can't. This isn't the 4%.
Yeah.
But you want to consider his the stakes. And what I mean by that is, if a player is, nobody likes to lose. I say losing is good all the time, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't want to win. It just means that you learn from your losses, and rather than treating them as this horrible event that means you're a piece of shit, right?
Oh no, this is very exciting. Like, win or loss. I like doing this sort of thing.
Which is good, right? That's the start. And so, first you
Just
want to
when the
consider
team is there.
first you want to consider the stakes on both your ends. Meaning, if a player has a 10-0 record,
Yeah.
when he plays you, it's very likely he doesn't want that record tarnished, particularly if it's towards the end of the tournament. So you can assume that he will bring his quote-unquote best. Now that brings you to the second thing, which is, what is his best? Meaning, is he the type of player that tends to stay inside his comfort zone, right? You have players that are very hard to read team building wise, like a Ben Gay. He kind of thrives on being unpredictable. Joey's a lot like that. Joey will pretty much bring whatever he thinks will beat you. He won't necessarily say, okay, I only play balance, I only play stall. And so, after determining...
That is both of us, actually. Just from the research I've done already. That is both of us. That's kind of the way we approach these sorts of games.
What? Do anything to win?
Mostly just cycle through what we think is solid, and it does expand across a lot of the team styles that...
Okay, so you're not like a quote-unquote balanced player, offense player, stall player. You're just whatever you feel
Well, we're
like
both
works.
pretty heavy offense players, but we both have nasty stall game and cheese game, too.
Okay. So, first when you determine, kind of the stakes, you get to find out, all right, is he like trying to... Is the win important for him, right? If it's not, then, like, let's say he's the opposite, right? He's 0-10. Then it's very likely that he'll go with something more outlandish, something that he's like, well, screw it, like I'm already in the hole, so they're more likely to bring something cheesy, like something unpredictable and
That's when he probably gets out the baton pass then,
right,
that we both...
something like that, where it's like 9 times out of 10 you're probably not gonna win. But if you do get that correct matchup, you absolutely obliterate, or he can surprise you with something. Now, after determining that, you feel like you're at a skill disadvantage. And, honestly, if you believe that, then you're going to lose in an even matchup. So
yeah,
you're going to have to do something out of your own comfort zone. In other words, you're gonna have to not be yourself for a bit. So if your approach like facing him and building for him is what you're comfortable with, it should actually make it easier to know how you counter yourself, because you're not winning in a skill versus skill game if you feel like it's even. Are you downplaying yourself? I don't know, but let's assuming you're not. Then you're gonna have to concoct a strategy. You have to win the game before you hit that field. Meaning you're just gonna have to have a better team, because in the actual game, it's all about who's playing better.
Yeah.
And so I'd say preparation is gonna be your biggest friend.
So, higher the floor and ceiling of the team I'm using, probably.
What was that?
Heighten the floor and the ceiling of the team I'm using, probably.
I mean, it's not quite that like linear, right? It's not like
No, it's not.
2 + 2 = 4. It's more like Pokemon is an art, right? You might need to, because that's such a small tier, like meaning like it's what, Gen 2 Ubers? What was it? Which Ubers is it?
Art Gold Soul Silver. So Gen 4.
Okay, Gen 4. Okay, never mind. So that has a bigger pool of mons. But if it's a smaller tier where you don't have a lot of room for creativity, meaning like Arceus normal is just Arceus normal. Like no matter how you cut it,
Right.
that thing is gonna mess you up. But if there is a little wiggle room, I don't know the tier well enough. Then, if you know that 9 times out of 10 he's bringing a Skarmory or something, then rather than your typical approach of bringing a whatever handles that core in Gen 4 Ubers, you may do something slightly different that is not as formulaic, it's not as predictable, because when that's the case, then you're not truly dealing with a game of just skill. You're like, okay, I know he knows what he's doing, so he's going to go to Skarmory here, and because I know he's going to, for example, bring Skarmory, I have again, I don't know the tier well enough, but a fire blasting Gyarados, if Gyarados was a mon, like something, you get what I'm saying? Something that
I do.
will throw him off his game and maybe take enough value in the beginning of the game to where he can't come back with his skill. If it's again as drastic as you think it is.
And I had a bit of a breakthrough yesterday with one of the teammates I have who's really good at this sort of tactical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a similar way of doing it. So this is just me gathering multiple opinions on this subject.
Okay.
I think they're both very valid. Okay. I have an idea of what I should be doing now, which is infinitely better than yesterday.
Just jumping into the game and figuring it out, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alrighty, well, thank you.
Yeah, no problem, my man, no problem.
How do you leave the... I'll move the audience.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So if you guys know how to, if you want to hop on stage and ask a question too, not being shy, this is a judgment-free zone. It's a lot easier for me to answer anything verbally, like rather than typing. So I don't know how to do it, but Bob figured it out, so I trust you guys are smart individuals. You can do that. If not, wait, what happened? I'd say something if I actually had something to say. So nobody has any. You mean to tell me of all the PMs I get every day? But maybe that's why they're PMs, because they don't want them shared. Everyone too pussy. I don't get it. But hey, I get the nerves, or maybe you feel like the question is gonna be dumb. That just gives me, I guess, info to know what to do in the next one. And I'll just have a topic, how to do team preview or something. And I don't think I can. Yeah, I can't do any visuals. So it's not like a live stream. It's strictly audio. Well, yeah, everybody, if you're too shy to say something, there's the Just for Jam chat. I'm watching the typing. So I'll just pick a topic. This doesn't have to be super long. I just wanted to test this out before I actually start using this feature a lot more. Can we talk about game plans? What do you want to know about game plans? Pato, hold on, let me see. Oh, sorry, I didn't see it. Okay, all right. Pato Legend, welcome to the stage.
Thank you very much, man. This is probably going to be a bit of a strange question because I've only just joined this Discord server, but I love your stuff, by the way, man. I've been watching your videos for like years. Love this.
I appreciate you.
Good stuff. So yeah, keep up the good work. You do really good stuff. I've one of my favorite ones is Arakonit. and of the trapping set. And I was just wondering how you'd suggest building a team around that for current gen IU, or is it just a really silly idea?
What's the trapping set? What does it carry? Like, what's the
it's like spider web, and then with metronome to liquidation. Yeah, defense drop on top spec, top spec, basically, and just do major damage.
And it's rest. Is rest the last move?
And
what's some other move? You said spider web.
Top spider web, liquidation. Normally run
substitute. Okay. Because I'm like wondering how you handle the toxic issue, because it could just toxic stall you.
Yeah, no. Enough speed to outrun certain things. I normally run it quite speedy to and yeah, I used to use that set like last gen, and it did pretty well, but I haven't had any success with this gen at all. And as you're the master at bringing out quite unique ones, shall we say, I just thought it would be an interesting challenge as such.
Well, that's a very specific use case, right? I think in almost every case it's gonna be worse than normal Araquanid. So you'd have to bring like the most value, unless you just want to have fun and you're just like, screw it, I'll just use whatever. To get the maximum use case out of something like that, you'd have to pair it with something that benefits from what it does, which is, you mentioned removing
getting rid of pets. Yeah.
So you'd have to pair it with something that greatly appreciates Pex's removal, because ultimately, and I really do need to get back to the team buildings and whatnot. I have a lot of things in the works, planned for you guys. Potentially, don't say too much, but since you guys chose to join the call, potentially having your own coins, by the way. But we're working out the kinks of essentially having an academy coin on the blockchain, and scaling that to. There are a lot of things in the works. Again, that's why I haven't been ultra active. But back to the Araquanid thing. Every mon is a tool, right? No matter what it is, if it's a spec Lele, the strongest in the tier, Heatran. Everything has to have a purpose on your team, and so if the purpose of your Araquanid is to remove Toxapex, because it's such a supportive set, it can never truly be the star of the show. And I'd assume, because we can't obviously team build live, I'd assume you'd have to have a partner that lures in Toxapex often enough. That, or I'm guessing that set may even bait Toxapex in to begin with, but luring Toxapex in often enough to where that set will work. But also,
I mean that was the intention originally, like to offer a different sort of option to trap a Heatran, because like people just got so used to it, I suppose, and this was a bit sort of out of whack.
Yeah, I think it can work, but it's gonna be one of those. That's what you classify as a gimmick. Meaning when it works once, it's very unlikely that the same opponent won't work again. And so I generally
that's fair.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, I was agreeing with you. That's fair.
So it's just it's just not gonna be one of those sets that are consistent. It's not, and particularly when you're climbing the ladder, there's certain, like in a tour game, you can bring something like that because the element of surprise, sort of what I was saying to Bob before, like something like that with an element of surprise will really, really hinder experienced players in particular. I remember back in my tour days, very rarely would people like come to me with an even matchup, meaning they're going to outskill me in a game. But people would bring stuff that are very, like, if you could throw me off early, and if I fall far enough back, for example, one was I remember a game when the opponent brought Infestation Toxapex, and I was not prepared. Like, a normal Toxapex, I'm playing it a way where I could easily maneuver around that, but Infestation trapped whatever the thing I had in and killed it, and that was a huge kind of wrench in my initial game plan. And so while I lost that game, I still fought, but had that been a normal Toxapex, I think it would have been a significantly easier game. And so things like that in a tour one-time deal are better, but for something like a ladder session where the aim is to win as many games as possible, you generally want to have movesets that work versus most things that you're gonna ever see all the time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, more consistent, basically.
Yeah. So that's pretty much how I'd go about that. You just gotta have to. It's just not gonna be one of those long-term strats.
Yeah, no. Better to put a choice band on it and let rain or stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks for the insight.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for hopping on.
You're welcome.
And just to get off, I think you go back to the stage or something like that. Or go back to
just
the
move to audience by the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks for all you do.
Yeah.
I love you.
Appreciate everybody, man. Thank you. Let's see. Checking Just for Jam right now. I find it hard to plan ahead in games. I kind of get tunnel vision sometimes. I'm not sure if it's a mindset, but in a few of my recent tour games, I haven't been choosing the most efficient path or the right one, which benefits me. Selling my house. Nah. This is gonna be a DAO project, meaning, I'm big on the community having the power, right? I know some people still refer to this as my server, but I am big on like, I can't do this without y'all. I mean, stuff like the Academy PL, the stuff Toast, Devin, JG do, none of this is possible without you guys. And so a DAO is a type of technology where the community members, like, nothing can happen unless there's like a vote and all that stuff, but we're figuring that out. So it's not the jam coin or anything like that. It would be more of a literally everybody's coin and getting it to the point where like, it's useful, like, within the community. And so me having a project coming up where I'm merging every competitive format, that's going to involve hundreds of thousands of people. And so that coin, the vision is to get it to where that coin is the token, let's just say, and has real use cases for some of the projects that we're going to have and some of the offers we're going to have within that. But ambitious, but I think we have the right people in the background working on that, so it'll happen. In a mind jam coin. All right, let me see. Is there anybody? No more requests? Am I gonna have to just answer Simp's question? Is that his name? Did I just fuck your name up? Oh yeah, Simp. Quite close with nerves. I'm getting pressure. All right, so let's answer Maverick Shooter's question. Any thoughts? Let me answer Simp's first. Proof of stake or proof of work? I'm not sure. Like, I don't think the DAO depends on any of those. But I guess I'm not educated enough. I'm still educating myself. But I know a lot of people who know more than I, and so I'm currently like reading up on the articles that, because I'm not the one implementing it. I am not the biggest tech guy. So other people are going to help me implement that. But as far as like vision and just what's coming for you guys, that's what I always say. You have no idea what's coming next. You have no idea what's coming next. It's like there are like crazy things that I think are possible with these new technologies that everybody can win from. But to answer Sim's question about how to plan ahead in games, I'd have to first ask, where do you range on the ladder? That's really important, because you might not be able to do that because your fundamentals aren't sound enough. So to kind of do a quick overview, do I go that deep? Okay, let's do a full overview. In any game, you might have heard me talk about this, but I find that some people still don't know. In any game, there are only 3 actions you can ever do, and this is really important to understand. It's very basic, but the fundamentals are what scale a person easily up to the top. Attacking, defending, and switching are your 3 actions. Everything else, well, attacking, defending, and switching are the only 3 things you can do in Mons, right? Mons is not one of those games where you need thumb reflexes and like hand-eye coordination or any of that. It's completely mental. All you need is your mouse. And so when you can only do 3 things, what differentiates players that are at the top versus the ones who are at the bottom? Because everybody can technically do the 3 moves. Like nobody is incapable of switching because they're at 1000, and it's only reserved for those who are above 1800. So everybody technically does the same 3 actions. Everybody. So what distinguishes players, right? Before I get into that, you'd have to understand then what value is, right? And value is I call it the currency of the game. It's like the money, in a way that I've been using to explain it is, think of when you go into a game, each of you start the game with $600, and each Pokemon is worth $100. So if you KO a Pokemon, you've effectively taken $100 of value from the opponent, which is the aim. Your aim when you enter a Pokemon battle is to take all of the opponent's value, all their money, all their coin. So you go in with 600, he goes in with 600. Whoever takes the other's money, their other's value first, wins. And so why that matters is the aim, how you're determining whether you're supposed to attack, defend, or switch will be based on whether you're going to get the most value out of that turn or not. How do you know whether you're getting the most value? Based on what your goal is. How do you know what your goal is? You game plan. And so if you're trying to game plan but you have a poor understanding of what the fundamentals are, you don't grasp them fully, you may conceptually understand them, but in actually practicing, you're switching when you need to stay in, you're attacking when you need to be switching, and you don't know when to do which, then game planning is almost, I wouldn't say useless, but you need to dial it a step back, and start working back on the fundamentals, and you'll find that just working on the fundamentals and value you'll win like 8 out of 10 of your games just from that. And then this is what we do in the society. We after that, then we start to stack on the next thing, because this most simple way of thinking about it, everything I'll ever talk to you about, teach you, you'll ever learn is just to get better at doing the 3 actions. That's all Mons is. Everything, game planning, like deception, all of that just helps you get better at attacking, defending, and switching. That's it. And it all comes down to who's the better attacker, defender, and switcher. That's all Mons is. And so when you can understand it on such a fundamental level, it helps clarify things, so you're not confused and you're like, what am I doing wrong? What am I not doing right? What is it? Just forget all that. Start from the bottom. Work on 3 actions, and each turn ask, how do I take value? That's it. How do I take value? And then over time, you'll start training your brain to only focus on taking value each turn. Or in the case of a wall, preserving value. But I didn't want to throw that in there because it's already kind of a lengthy answer. But I'd have to know where you stand on the ladder and see. So I'm about to invite you on the stage.
Yo.
What's up?
Well, yeah, so it's sort of like I hover around like 1600s on ladder.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just feel like I need to work on my game planning and how to work around threats and stuff like that on the field.
Work around threats. Okay. Do you know what the 3 pillars are?
Sorry.
Have you ever
I
heard
don't
of
think
them?
I do.
Okay. So did you hear what I just talked about when I was saying the attack, defending, and switching stuff?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. All right. So generally, it's going to be these 3 fundamentals that you want to have a thorough understanding of, and you can scale up to 1800 with just these 3 things. Even I don't want to, this is a somewhat bold statement, but even without thoroughly understanding game planning, you could technically get to 1800 with just this. But I wouldn't recommend it. But I've seen it happen. So
yeah, I feel like it's more of the tour games that I sort of doubt myself.
Okay, that's dope.
Like I'll sort of get tunnel vision on going into one game plan when I should review my options more.
Give me an example of that.
I think there was a replay of one where I could have disrupted terrain with a Horlucha, and I went for a riskier play, which involved RNG.
Okay. Did you know that? I think this is actually the perfect segue into the 3 pillars. This will clarify a lot for you. Because every mistake in every game is because of one of the 3 pillars. Everything. And so the 3 pillars are knowledge, skill, and awareness. Knowledge is going to be the informational parts of the game. So we're talking about all the basics, but also things like damage calcs and all that. So what typing is Zapdos? What does a citrus berry do? What is a life orb? What does Landorus run Stone Edge or not? Does it run Toxic? Does it run U-Turn? All the informational parts of the game fall under the knowledge pillar, and you need to have that first before you can start seeing any real results.
Yeah.
Because
I think I have like a decent grasp on that.
Right, which generally to get to 1600, you'd have to have at least a sound sort of grasp on what the metagame trends are.
Yeah.
You're rarely going to get there if you don't know what most things do. You're gonna.
Yeah, true.
So you'd hover around 1400 if knowledge was your biggest pillar. Now, the next step is skill, which is likely is the 2 things that are your deficiencies right now. But I'd say it's like heavily awareness, which is the next pillar, but not to confuse you, and skill. And so skill is knowing what to do and when to do it to solve whatever problem you're facing. So within each turn of a game, when you attack, you defend, or you're switching, how you go about doing any of those things is in hopes to solve a problem. And so you mentioned your example of terrain control or something of that nature.
Yeah.
That was a situation where there was a problem, which was what? What was the problem you were trying to solve?
It was that I didn't want the Horlucha sweep.
Meaning
and
sweeping
I could have doubled. Sorry?
Is it sweeping you, or you're trying to sweep?
It's sweeping me.
Okay.
So I could have doubled to a Lele.
Okay.
and stop the terrain because it was a Rillaboom and a Hawlucha left.
Okay, but you allowed him to set up, not realizing that you could have done the Lele play until after.
Yeah, and I went for a riskier play, which was killing with Glide.
Okay. Perfect situation. So that is a situation that's actually more the third pillar, but I'll explain the skill one nonetheless. So skill is knowing what to do and when to do it. Right there, you knew what to do, but your timing wasn't correct. And so oftentimes when people think of skill, they're like, oh, he knows what to do to solve the problem. Yes, that's partly true, but I'm sure everybody has had a situation where they knew what to do. He's like, I know I'm supposed to, attack the Ferrothorn, but I just don't know when. Like, when do I reveal Fire Blast? Or when do I click Focus Blast? When do I click Psychic? The timing is super important when it comes to skill in the pillar part. And so to kind of recap, knowledge you need first. Then you have skill. What to do with the knowledge? How do I solve this problem? The opponent has a Hawlucha. I need to fix that. I need to prevent it from sweeping me. That's your problem at hand. The how you do it is the skill. If you don't know how to do that, then you need to develop your skill pillar. If you do know how to do that, which is in your case, or maybe somebody explained it to you after the fact, but you just didn't realize in the moment.
No, someone explained it to me.
Okay, so you like the skill.
After the fight, yeah.
Okay. That's actually perfect as well. So that's a case where you don't know how to solve the problem. And so now somebody explained to you what you could have done in a different, like your alternative play. And so now, let's say I put you back in that exact same situation. You are now more skilled than you were the first time.
Yeah.
Meaning you have a new method of solving a problem in your tool belt in a way of thinking about it. Like when Rillaboom and Hawlucha are the last two, you now know how to solve that problem. If you have a Tapu Lele or a terrain control mod, you control the terrain, switch. And so
yeah,
that is something that that is something that is now a new skill in your toolbox. Now the last pillar, because I wanted, there's a point why I want to go through these, but I generally want to flesh them out a bit more, but I don't want this question to be overly lengthy. Awareness is going to be knowing that there's something that needs to be done. So I'm sure you've had games where you knew what to do, so it's not like you didn't have the knowledge, right? Like knowledge issues will generally be you face a Pokemon you've never seen, or the metagame is very new, like when there's a new release and everybody doesn't know what things do. And so in that moment, everybody's low on knowledge and everybody's figuring it out. And then you'll have, after the knowledge, people understand the metagame. People will then start to figure out how to solve the problems. Okay, I know what that Pokemon does. I know what that Pokemon does. But how do I beat it? How do I stop it from sweeping me? You go to skill. A level above that is knowing that there's a thing that needs to be done. And so you may know what to do and you may know when to do it. So for example, you may have a Ferrothorn versus a Rain team, and that Ferrothorn walls 5 out of 6 members, but for some reason you leave your Ferrothorn in on a something, close combat or something. It doesn't die, but it's now at 20%, 10%. Now that Ferrothorn cannot wall the Rain team any longer. If I were to stop that game and review it with you and I said, okay, did you know that Ferrothorn was important to keep healthy? You probably would have said yes. So then I'd ask you the next question, well, why did you let it take all that damage? I wasn't thinking. It would be something along those lines. Oh, dang, I wasn't thinking. Or I didn't realize. It's not that you lacked the knowledge, and it's not like you lacked knowing what to do. In that moment, in a simple way of putting it, you just weren't thinking. Right. And so how do we make sure you're always quote unquote thinking? How do we keep your awareness high? And that's done through asking yourself questions. The only way to keep awareness high is to continually ask yourself questions. That's why I always emphasize the 2 questions in the beginning. What can he guard against? What can't you guard against? It immediately puts your awareness high, brings it to the forefront of your mind, your brain, whatever you want to use there. And it prevents you from, quote unquote, letting Ferrothorn take 90%, because you're like, okay, what's Ferrothorn useful for? Oh, it's useful for 5 of his members. So in a case like that, your awareness is immediately high, and you won't ever leave Ferrothorn in on a close combat trying to make some, crazy play or whatever, because you understand it walls 5. And if I lose my Ferrothorn, I lose the game. But what often happens is, because of nerves drops awareness. But also, if you have the habit of just clicking before you think, then you'll just impulsively leave the Ferrothorn in, trying to predict what the opponent is going to do. And then the opponent doesn't do what you expect, your Ferrothorn got clobbered, and now you're trying to figure out how to come back from losing that much value. And so the reason the 3 pillars matter is every mistake, if you go back to any game you've ever had, is either because you didn't know what the Mon did, you didn't know how to solve the problem, so you knew what it did, but you just didn't know how to beat it, right? Or you just didn't realize that there was a move to be done and your awareness was low. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. I think that's all, man. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks a lot.
No problem. Yeah.
Hey.
Who's that? Is that Savoris?
Yeah, I don't know how I got here, but I'm able to speak apparently. Hello.
What's good? Yeah, I think the competitive heads and the moderators have stage moderator, yeah. So you guys have the ability to host these and
Nice.
Obviously get
That's
on
pretty
stage.
cool.
Yeah.
Great.
You got a question for me?
Oh, damn, I'm not prepared.
He just hopped on stage and just...
Yeah, I was like, what is going on here? And okay, I got something. So I'll be stuck in this position that I've been playing like tournaments for a while.
Yeah.
And either after I take a lose for no reason, or like I miss a move, or I haven't played like my game perfectly, I kind of get like I kind of lose motivation. And although I still do the same preparation that I do for all the games that the tournament have, at the end I start getting more losses, and I'm not performing that well. And I got like failing to qualify, for example, Smoker, or losing more games. So I don't know, like what causes this. Like, is it that I'm not as interested anymore after I fail a game or something, or I have like high expectations? God damn it, expectations. Yeah, that's it. And you have like a lot more tournament experience than I have, so that's why that's the first thing that came to mind.
Okay. So the question is, could you clarify it? So you're saying that so I can make sure I'm hearing you correctly, is it when you get a string of losses that what happens?
Yeah, when I lose a game that I feel okay, I didn't play very well, or actually no, when I feel I played well but I end up losing like for no reason, like maybe I missed, or maybe something that very unfortunate happened. I start feeling that I lose, and that my performance is dropping. I'm not doing that well, and that happens usually in these longer tournaments, like a World Cup, like a Smoke Tour that you have to play for weeks, do all that stuff. How we fix that.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So after that first L, or maybe not even just the first one, but when that, you may go 0-2 when you feel like, dang, I prepared, like I thought I was ready, but still end up losing somehow. How do you like kind of get past that?
Okay. Am I missing something? Like what is going on? Why I'm not performing as I was kind of hoping I would? Like for example, I don't know if you have watched any of these World Cup games for Pokemon Online, but like I played like the first game, I won, and then I lost 2 games. One to a Stone Edge Pinsir in Noras, and one to owing to my Volcarona missing a Fire Blast. And after that, I kind of like, I'm not doing well. Like, what is going on? So yeah, that's my most perfect example I have this World Cup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that's super common, particularly in tour. There are a couple of reasons that could be the case, and so I'll have to ask you. And I know you're on stage, but everybody out here have their own version of some shit that they're dealing with. So, I do ask to be very transparent because it'll help me help you a little better. So, how on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad do you feel when you lose? I'm be honest.
Oh, I feel so bad, man.
10.
I'm not going. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Bye-bye.
No. Scale of 1 to 10. How, like, if you were to rate it from a scale of 1 to 10?
I'll say 8.
8. Okay, so pretty damn, like, you feel like horrible. Okay.
Yeah, like I don't take it personally. Like it's not like it's gonna matter for my real life stuff or anything. But like I'm trying to win. I'm trying to win every single game. I'm not trying to lose like any opportunities. Like these games for me are like opportunities. That's how I see them. So I don't want to miss out on them.
You're right. You're right. I'm not a believer in the philosophy of it doesn't matter, blah blah blah. I think that's just a cop out. Like if you're gonna spend your time to actually put effort into something, and you give any less than full force, then you deserve to lose.
Exactly.
So I'm not a believer in the, it's just memes, bro. Like no. You can have fun, but if you take an L, then and you're gonna say like a excuse, it's really what it is of, I wasn't even trying. It's a cop out. But so
exactly, I'm having fun winning. Like that's the thing. Like I don't like losing. If you're winning, you're having more fun. So these are all excuses.
Yes. And again, I want to preface this, everybody who's listening. When I say losing is good, it does not mean I don't want you to win. I think winning is the goal, but losing, and I'm glad that you actually were vulnerable about the fact that it's an 8, because that ties into something else, which is the only way that emotion can be so strong is if on some level you deeply identify with that loss. Now, the level to which I can't really say. You'd have to be the one to tell me, but let's put it like this. If we were to play rock paper scissors right now, right? Do they have that where you're from? Do you know that game, rock paper scissors?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. If we were to play rock paper scissors right now, and I beat you, how would you feel?
Wouldn't matter at all. Same thing. Doesn't matter. It's just
okay.
Because it's based on luck. It's not like I can do much about it. It's like I have odds to win and lose. So yeah, it's not.
Okay. What if we play 10 times in a row and I beat you 10 times in a row?
Hey, something's going wrong. What am I doing wrong? Yeah, I'll try to figure out. Okay, what is going wrong? Why am I losing there? Like that's the thing.
Okay. And so emotionally, would you feel? How would you feel if I beat you 10 times in a row? Would you be indifferent, happy, mad, sad? What?
Embarrassed. I would be probably, I don't know, not mad, but like kind of sad. Yeah. Like try to figure out, okay, what is going on.
Okay. And so the reason I'm asking you that is, depending on your perception of when things don't go your way, that could be your biggest tour detriment. Meaning, I've been in the scene, as you mentioned, for a long time. I don't really talk about, unless you were subscribed back then, like I don't really talk about it unless it's that. But, you know, many of my team tours in particular, you know, I'd see people self-destruct all the time, right? Back then, you know, I definitely could have been better as far as like, you know, just uplifting other people. I wasn't attacking them or anything, but I just didn't. I was like, okay, bro, if you're not good, you're not good, right?
Yeah.
But I noticed a lot of self-destructive behavior, right? Oh man, another tour where I'm shit, another blah blah blah, and they'll quit, right? And I've even had bouts like that, right? And when I look back in studying and in having all these PMs and I've hundreds of dialogues with people, it all comes down to how identified you are with your results. And in your case, the reason I used the rock paper scissors example was the first time when I won, you didn't have any emotional change, meaning like you didn't care. There's no quote unquote stakes.
Yeah.
And so in the same way, on a technical level, Mons has no stakes, meaning you're not going to jail if you lose, you're not losing an arm, you know, you didn't lose any serious money or anything. But your emotions are treating it as if you just lost, you know, the Super Bowl. And that doesn't mean that now, yo, bro, it's just a game, bro, chill out. I'm not a big proponent of that. I think whatever you put your energy in, you should want to win. But the reason that's the case is because with our nervous system, our brain, whatever, when you deeply commit and invest to something, it's very difficult for it to tell what the difference is between a no stakes and a stakes, quote unquote, thing with stakes event. Like there is no difference. And so, you know, I don't know if you've ever heard the concept where I said you are the avatar, right? That's what it truly means. Where it's like when a player plays Mons, there is no difference. There is no I'm just playing Mons, so I'm angry, or I'm an excuse maker, or you're already an excuse maker. You're just making excuses in Mons. You already hate losing. You just hate losing in Mons too. And so what needs to change is how you perceive when you take the L. Because I guarantee you, I mean, I've seen you play. I wouldn't have had you as a society coach if I didn't know what you're capable of. But, you know, coming from the tour scene days, I've seen plenty of players very capable. But because their perception of their L's was so negative, they never got anywhere, right? And I'm like, solid players, right? Solid, had the potential, but every loss, it was a chip away at their ego, right? Oh, this is why you're never going to be good. And every mistake, every failure was just very difficult. And I had a version of this myself because everybody always expected me to win. So whenever I didn't, oh man, I would not take it well. And so I'm not speaking on this from a soapbox. I've been there, done that. And so that's why I'm so like put so much emphasis on the losing is good thing for everybody to know now, is because that's the ultimate unlock. And so when it clicks that, wait, instead of me saying, okay, I didn't play well, or even a Stone Edge miss, something out of your control, whatever, instead of that being a negative event, it's like, bet. Now I'm about to get even better, right? I'm about to review this replay. I'm about to da-da-da-da. Back in the day, nobody really reviewed their replays like that. That's how I easily, when I got to the best of I think I had been at that time, all I did was review replays. And it was such a, you know, now that like this, you know, I've obviously shared it with Joey and them and Blunder and them and, you know, my circle, and we're YouTubers, so we share it with everybody. Now it's assumed that it was common practice, but even the idea of a replay is kind of new. Like replays didn't used to exist, and so people used to just play their games and kind of like play a lot of them till they got good. And it wasn't until I remember I lost really badly, and that really fucked with my ego at the time, because I'm like, you know, I'm Jam, I don't lose, right? And it will hurt me so much, and this was like years ago, but it fucked with me so much. And it was a huge humble sandwich that I had to eat, that I just sat back, you know, and I remember like losing a lot of confidence in myself. And I'm like, am I as good as I thought? And I kind of just, after a couple of days, just kind of let go of it and made an alt, and I'd just play, and I'd rewatch every replay, every single one. And I just refine, okay, this I can do better. I watched so many, I'd play and watch. It took me so much time, because I know the next time I stepped into that ring, I am not losing. And so I just watched replays on replays on replays on replays. And this was the birth of the process, but I wouldn't share this with anybody. This was my competitive edge. And so when I'd get into a game, my team preview game was so tight, like I could see 20 turns ahead. And literally, like, that's again at my peak of, like, you could not beat me, no matter who you were, in an even matchup, unless you hacked, or you couldn't. And so that came from taking those losses and say, okay. And when I tell you, Savors, nothing was more painful than when you just took a L and had to rewatch that replay for the next hour and a half and look at every mistake. But over time, I stopped feeling the same way I did about my losses, and I actually was like, okay, that's just another. I'm about to get better, because I'm about to learn from that mistake. Won't be making that again. Yeah. And so, changing my relationship with my losses made me the best player at the time, and just being willing to go and look, quote unquote, in the mirror, which was just essentially your replays. And not running from that mistake. And it's like, oh, I don't want to see it. I can't believe I made that play. I brought shame to my family. And, you know, like, nah. it's just that.
Yeah. That's interesting, because, like, the fun thing is that when we're doing calls with, other people, when we're doing coaching and all that, it's funny because, like, I tell them, okay, it doesn't matter, like, if you lose, it's an opportunity to, like, get better, like, study your replays and all that. And that's something that I should be doing more. I have many losses recently, so yeah, that's pretty cool. And especially as you said, like, I could actually try. I have time now. I could actually try making a new alternative account and, like, start playing a lot and reviewing all my losses, because, like, I'll be telling, like, okay, I made this mistake this game, I made that mistake, or, like, my knowledge, like, or whatever, my awareness was like.
Well, don't just review the losses, review every game. If you want a real edge, and I'm sharing a secret, it's not really a secret. I tell it to everybody, but nobody ever does it, because it's like, oh, that's too much work. I'm like, okay, then, you're not going to be as good as you could be. What do you want me to tell you? But the secret is to review every game. And so the hardest thing for some people to do sometimes is review their win, because they're like, I already get it. And that's the worst mindset you can have. So review both of them, because 9 times out of 10 you did something in the win. Like, most people win games not because they even played well, it's because the opponent played worse.
Facts.
That's most wins. Most wins are not because you played well. But there are people who play well, and it's when you know how to play well, it becomes very obvious they know what they're doing. But then you have people who just play just kind of sporadically, but then other people are playing sporadically, and you're just the better of the two people who don't know what they're doing. And so the goal is to get you to where you know what you're doing. Not in your case, obviously, but just a kind of a general statement, and then it's crazy how fast you'll soar to the top. So review every game, bro.
We'll do that, yeah, for sure. And that's that's something that everyone can do. Like even if your games are for tournaments or for ladder, like low ladder, high ladder, doesn't matter. You can do it from wherever you are, right? Doesn't matter. Like how high you are on the ladder, or if you're just playing tournaments. All games matter.
And another secret, and this is gonna take some willpower, but when I got to that point where I was like a genius of this game, like I mean, like, and I say this humbly, but like you were not winning, and back then all the best were, you know, like my circle, like every player of the day I used to play all the time, and they would not ever win. Hugo, Blue, Joey, Blunder, none of them. And so the trick at the time was nobody was looking over the replay like me. Like I'd be on one turn, I'd be on team preview for 30 minutes just looking at every situation. Okay, what if I led this? What would he do? And then I'd think about it. What would I have to do after that? And I'd practice thinking more than one turn ahead, to where if people used to remember like my older videos, I would sometimes completely forget what item the opponent had, and I still do it to this day, but that's because I'd have like 10-15 turns in my head, so it's very hard for me to pay attention to the item, like something as small as the item, because I'm thinking about, you know, 20 turns of the game. And so you want to get to that point, obviously not ignore the item. I recommend paying attention to the item, but like slowly just thinking the game through, and you're gonna want to like just skip over the turn, and you think that's reviewing the game. Oh yeah, turn 2 I should have. Yeah, I already know that. Yeah. No, that's not a review.
Now we got to that.
But
wow, I'm gonna take my time with it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's definitely help.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's pretty much that. Anybody else want to ask a question as I begin to wrap up? I never have more mons on the field than you would have in Women in Your Bed. It's you, Leech. Shout outs to Toast. Yeah, so the last question, what's the last question of the day, guys? What's up with the houses in Discord, like Attack House? I feel like that really needs a revamp with new leads. They think they helped a lot formatting the Discord. Oh yeah, for sure. The house tours definitely need a revamp and all that. I don't think the house, like, as far, I think the quizzes are pretty accurate, but the actual doing of all that. And so, I mean, do whatever you want to do with it, right? Y'all come together and make a decision on that. Put together some creative house tour idea. I just don't have the time to concoct a house tour right now, like mentally. And so if y'all are gonna wait on me, it's gonna take a while. So I just say be proactive with it. Decide like, oh, we're gonna do something with the house, and just take action on that. But I definitely think the house. What I meant is a reset of the house roles. What do you mean, like not having people be in the houses that they're in? It's up to y'all. Yeah, I would require everybody doing the house quiz again, and I don't necessarily know. I don't know if that's the best idea, because you know you're already like, I'm an attack house player, I'm a defense house player. But yeah, okay. Last question from Maverick Shooter. Any thoughts on how to get the break through the 1800s? Been trying it for about a month now. Get quite close a few times, but fail to do so every time, and my nerves get in the way, which leads to tilt. And I'm trying to reduce more and more, but still quite difficult. I talked about the problem, I think, a couple weeks ago, but I haven't been able to make much progress. Like, I know if I let my mods get hacked or when the safer option, it's my fault, yet tilts me off, blah, blah, blah. Tilts seem to be your primary reason. And this is a really simple fix. I just need you to follow it to the T. The way to get over 1800 is to completely forget about getting over 1800. The only reason anybody ever tilts right before that is because it's another version. It's like the negative version of getting attached to your results. So for the longest you were 1700. I'm sure that took you some trial and error to get to, and you were proud of that moment. And so now you're perceiving 1800 as this next huge milestone. Man, the 1800 players are just a whole different breed, bro. It's like da 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 da. And that's completely in your head. Why do you assume there's any real difference between somebody who's 1799 and somebody who's 1801? There is no big difference. So completely disregard the 1800 thing and just play with the intention of learning. What did I learn? What did I do well? And you'll probably end up at 1900, because then you're not micromanaging where you are. Where are my points? Bad idea. Horrible idea. And that's where the nerves come from. I'm about to go to this next level. Am I ready? It's tilt. Because you're not ready. Mentally, at least. Skill-wise, you're ready. But you just have to let go of this belief, or even watching your points so much. Theo went through this. Remember, Theo PM'd me, and he didn't make the World Cup. He got smacked. And Theo is somebody I actually worked with about a year before that, and he got from like 1400 to 1700 pretty quickly after our session. And I think at that point he got attached to the 1700, if I'm honest, and got complacent. I think beyond that, for a year, the highest he went to was like 1750 or something like that. And you'd see the spookies come in and just skyrocket up. You'd see so many people just shoot up the ladder, and having to watch that, the only excuse you can make at that point is, hey, maybe Mons isn't for me. But with the Academy PL coming around, he decided to join, and I think he was really looking forward to making England's World Cup team. Didn't make it. But he had listened to a video I had made about the 4 reasons you're not progressing. And what I find is, when people listen to those videos, they're listening to them as if, yeah, I already know that. Yeah, I already know that. Whatever. Yeah, okay. What does that have to? And I'm like, okay. And so that's how he listened to it the first time. Played the World Cups game right after that, lost. And so when he had the humility sandwich forced down his throat, he rewatched that video, and then that's when it really clicked, because now he was humbled, right? He's no longer, I know that. Or, yeah, Jam, that's just some. I'm like, okay, since you know it all, you clearly have the results to back it up. And so he listened the second time. No ego. He's like, screw it. I'm done thinking I know it all. Clearly I don't. I couldn't even get on the damn World Cup team. And England is not a hard World Cup team to get on. And so, after listening to that video, he was at 1550 or so. Within the next 24 hours, he got to like 1980. Yeah, about 1980. It was 1985 or something like that. So we're talking a 1400 point jump. No new skills. So how do you explain something like that? Right? And that happens all the time. I don't share people's PMs with me, but that happens all the time. And it's when it clicks for people that it's rarely your skill sets. A lot of you guys are skilled enough. You've been playing this long enough. It's just the perception of the losses, right? And letting go of that big ego of, I'm so damn good. If I lost, it's because of my opponent. Or Pokemon is a bad game, or it's the metagame's fault. And it's just look in the mirror and be like, I can get better. There's more I need to learn. And once he took that attitude, he soared. And now, he easily probably gets 1900, when before he couldn't even get past 1750 for a year, and that broke that record, shattered that record in 24 hours. So just definitely, bro, like just let go of that 1800. Like, I need to break it. You don't, and you're way better than the 1800 level. You just have to focus on learning. There's more I need to learn. That's it. That was to Maverick, as but
go
ahead.
I start noticing that more and more people like have similar problems with their ego, right? Like, not just me apparently. Like, a lot of people gonna struggle with this and accepting their losses and like dealing with them appropriately. Like, I remember when I first got into the tournaments, starting with World Cup in Team Greece, which is a pretty easy team to get into, right? Like, playing for Team Greece World Cup isn't that big of a deal. But like at that point, I didn't have like this feeling that I can lose. I'm the best. That I kind of unfortunately have at this point. I was like just enjoying the game, and it seemed, and obviously like taking more time with not only my preparation but like reviewing the games after, seeing what I'll do next, and not only it seemed more enjoyable for me, but like I was doing better.
Yeah.
Like, because my head was like clear. Like, I was just enjoying the moment. I was playing the game and I was doing all I could to like improve, make the most out of this opportunity. Because like playing World Cup for me as a first tournament was like obviously a big opportunity, not only to play versus better people, but like learn a lot from a team too. And yeah, we gotta drop this ego thing somewhere else and like work and improve on improve in general. Like, fuck ego, right?
Yeah, it doesn't help you.
At all. Not at all.
New identity, guys. You're a learner now. Because you're all fools.
We always are.
Yeah. You're all fools. I'm a fool. Right? You're just a fool to a lesser degree, but you're never smart. Like, how much stuff none of us know? I think when that really clicks, like we're on and I'll end it here, just kind of a thought-provoking thing for those who are really entrenched into the idea of being smart. We are on, well, let's get even further. We're on a rock in like the solar system. Like, the size of the Earth in comparison to just Jupiter is ridiculously small. Compared to our sun is ridiculously small, to just put it to scale. And our sun is insanely small compared to the galaxy. And to other suns, like there's so much we don't know. Like, there's so much that exists beyond your house. Like, and so I think the level of arrogance it requires to assume that everything there is. I know that. That's like the worst thing. And I can always tell when that type of person PMs me, I'm like, he'll never get anywhere until he drops it. And usually they'll PM me again when they get fucked up on the ladder or fucked up in the tournament. Like, Jam, what happened, bro? Like, what am I doing wrong? I'm like, you ready now? Yeah, man. Whatever you say, I'll do it. And then, but a lot of this information is not like I'm smart or some shit. That's why I know it. Like, I listen to everybody. I get a lot of PMs. And so I have to figure out how to get you to where you want to get to. And so I try a ton of shit. And if I can't figure it out, I go and like read like dozens of books. Like, I don't think people really understand. I don't know the information. Let me go find the answer. And I'll come back. And then this identity stuff, all that stuff, all from books. And all from like Stanford lectures and all this stuff. And then I'll come back and I'll test it. Hey, bro, see if this is what's going on. And you're like, oh, yeah, it is. Damn, now I feel way better. I'm enjoying the game more. I'm like, maybe I'm onto something here. And then I'll go research more, test the principle. Research more, test the principle. And so we've gotten to a point where there are things that are just truths of the game, like the ego and the learning and the losing is good. All of that is stuff I learned elsewhere, from other people who are less fools. But we're all idiots. And when you realize like you don't know that much, it frees you. You don't have to be perfect and then have this performance anxiety when you get on the ladder because you're expecting that I'm Jam. I need to show up perfectly. It's like nah. But once that clicks or is like I really don't know that much, you're very open to learning. You're very open to losing because losing is learning. You're open to winning. You're open to everything, and it relieves all that anxiety that is just really unnecessary if you're honest. Particularly with a game we're supposed to find fun, but that's where we're gonna end the first Ask Jam, and I'll have like a poll or something if you guys want me to discuss a particular topic, or if you just have a series of questions. But I definitely want to I want to talk to everybody, see what the problems y'all are having. If I can help, I help. If I can't, what can I do? But
Hey, that was pretty cool, man. Thank you for taking the time to do all this and give us like I guess this opportunity to learn from you.
hey, yeah,
Like that's no cap, like appreciate it a lot.
no problem. I learned from y'all as well, so this helps me because I know obviously I'm writing like a new book, and so learning how to better explain the stuff, I need to actually test the information. And so if it's not working, then it's theory, and I don't want any theory in there. Like I want it to be the actual what works. So I need y'all just as much as you feel I'm giving value. So I appreciate each and every one of you, and I truly mean that. This is not some I want you to feel good shit. But yeah, thanks, Servorus. And if you want to host some of these, just to have some discussions and meet fellow Academy members and all that, toast you two, like all of you guys with moderator powers can do it.
Hey, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you very much.
No problem. All right, y'all. Peace.